Last meal refers to the final meal requested by a death row inmate before their scheduled execution. This tradition varies significantly from state to state within the United States, with each state having its own rules and policies governing last meal requests. In this video, we will show you the strangest and the unique choices made by inmates facing their ultimate fate. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more. John Wayne Gacy. John Wayne Gacy, infamously known as the Killer Clown for his double life as a children's party entertainer and a serial killer, made an unusual request for his last meal. Prior to his execution in 1994, Gacy asked for fried chicken, a comfort food enjoyed by many, along with a side of crispy French fries and fresh strawberries. This seemingly ordinary meal choice stood in stark contrast to the horrors he had committed during his criminal activities. Timothy McVeigh. Responsible for the devastating Oklahoma City bombing in 1995,
the Oklahoma City bomber was sentenced to death for setting off an explosion which killed 168 people and injured more than 600 others.
Chose a dessert-oriented last meal. Just before his execution in 2001, McVeigh requested 2 pints of mint chocolate chip ice cream. This seemingly simple request for a sweet treat contrasts with the immense loss of life and destruction caused by his actions, highlighting the stark contrast between the individual and the impact of their crime.
Timothy McVeigh was executed at Terre Haute on June 14, 2001.
Aileen Wuornos. Aileen Wuornos, one of the few female serial killers in history, had a relatively modest last meal request. Prior to her execution in 2002, she asked for a cup of coffee. This understated request could be seen as a reflection of her acceptance of her impending fate or a desire for a simple, comforting beverage. Ted Bundy.
My name is Ted Bundy.
Ted Bundy, one of the most infamous serial killers in American history, opted for a classic last meal. Bundy was executed in 1989 and requested a traditional steak, cooked medium rare, along with eggs, hash browns, and toast. This choice of a hearty and familiar meal may have been an attempt to find some semblance of normalcy in his final moments. Ricky Ray Rector.
He went back to Arkansas, of which he was still governor, and supervised the execution of a mentally disabled, in fact a lobotomized black defendant called Ricky Ray Rector.
Ricky Ray Rector made an intriguing last meal request. Before his execution in 1992, Rector asked for a combination meal that included steak, fried chicken, cherry Kool-Aid, and pecan pie. What makes this request particularly poignant is that he left the pecan pie behind, stating that he would save it for later, underscoring the tragic nature of his mental condition. Victor Feguer. Victor Feguer's last meal request was one of the most minimalist in history. He was executed in 1963, and he requested a single olive with the pit still in it. This stark and symbolic choice of a single olive has sparked various interpretations and remains a curious aspect of his final moments. Gary Gilmore.
The execution of Gary Gilmore.
Gary Gilmore, who was convicted of murdering 2 people in Utah County, became the first person to be executed in the United States after the U.S. Supreme Court reversed itself.
Gary Gilmore's execution in 1977 marked the end of a temporary moratorium on the death penalty in the United States. He requested a meal reminiscent of a classic American breakfast, a hamburger, eggs, and potatoes. Interestingly, he didn't consume this meal and instead asked for dessert, reflecting the complex emotions and decisions faced by inmates facing imminent execution. Teresa Lewis. Teresa Lewis, one of the few women executed in Virginia in modern times.
We begin tonight with something that hasn't happened in Virginia in nearly a century.
41-year-old Teresa Lewis was put to death by lethal injection for hiring someone to kill her husband and her stepson.
Teresa Lewis requested a familiar and comforting last meal. Prior to her execution in 2010, she asked for fried chicken, a Southern favorite, along with peas with butter and a Dr. Pepper to wash it all down. Lawrence Russell Brewer. Lawrence Russell Brewer, a white supremacist convicted of a racially motivated murder, made an extravagant last meal request in 2011. He asked for a large meal that included 2 chicken fried steaks, a triple meat bacon cheeseburger, fried okra, a pound of barbecue, 3 fajitas, a meat lover's pizza, a pint of ice cream, and a slab of peanut butter fudge. Brewer's extravagant request drew significant public attention and led to policy changes regarding last meals in Texas. James Edward Smith. James Edward Smith, executed in 1990 in Texas for a murder committed during a robbery, made a rather unusual last meal request. He asked for a lump of dirt. Smith's request was seen as a way to make a religious statement, and it remains one of the most unconventional last meal requests on record. The tradition of the last meal offers a glimpse into the complex world of the criminal justice system, where individuality and humanity can shine even in the bleakest of moments. As we've seen, this practice, while sometimes controversial, continues to be a somber reminder of the humanity that persists even in the face of the most severe penalties. It is a topic that continues to spark debate, shedding light on the diverse perspectives surrounding life, death, and the rituals that accompany them.